Get up without my permission. I'll blast your ass so far through your head, it'll turn the moon cherry pie red. So, let's keep this sweet and polite, and finish our conversation with no misunderstandings.
Dean Domino was a widely known singer and performer pre-war, traveling globally while performing with his orchestra and living the life of a Hollywood elite. A smooth-talking lady killer with a voice still heard on radio broadcasts centuries later, Domino's swinging exterior covered up a much different interior disposition of pride, pettiness, and utilitarianism. Nothing displays this better than the Courier's interactions with him in the first volume of downloadable content for Fallout New Vegas, titled Dead Money. Dean, being the king of swing, was a top-shelf choice to perform for the opening of the Sierra Madre Resort and Casino, and was invited by the founder, Fredrick Sinclair, to do just that for the evening of 23 October 2077. Dean was to perform at the casino opening, along with performances by Miss Vera Keyes, Joey Baxter, and Wilfred the Wizard. The story of Dean Domino is interwoven with two of these characters, Fredrick Sinclair and Vera Keyes. Though, interestingly enough, the stage has been lacking their absence for over 2 centuries. Fredrick Sinclair was an eccentric, idealistic businessman, a man who unabashedly took risks to attain the goals and overlook the numerous challenges in his way. His last project, the Sierra Madre, was his most ambitious. Advertised as the location of renewal, a glorious place to begin again in the beautiful streets of its sunlit villas and find escape, excitement, and hope. It was located in a very remote region, with even vehicle access prohibited. Externally, the Sierra Madre Casino and Resort was the epitome of a getaway experience, a true opportunity to begin again. Vera Keyes was a young, very beautiful actress and singer, starring in films such as Love Sets Sail pre-war. She caught the eye of Fredrick Sinclair, who propped her up even before their meeting as a veritable idol. She would go on to serve as the voice and icon of the Sierra Madre, and still does centuries later. Dean met Fredrick Sinclair before the opening celebrations, having witnessed the villa and casino theater, as evidenced in his dialogue and terminal entry making dealings with some of the construction crew. It seems, too, he had the acquaintance and hand of Vera Keyes before her and Sinclair's meeting. This introduction between Vera and Sinclair would come to fruition through no other than Dean Domino. Dean, after seeing Sinclair's attitude of positivity and always getting back up, had decided that Sinclair needed to be brought down a peg, that Sinclair needed to be brought down to his level. And so Dean, committed to taking hope from Sinclair, planned a heist to steal the treasure of the Sierra Madre and leave Sinclair broken-hearted, hopeless, and destitute. As such, Vera Keyes was to be the hook, bait, and sinker to entrap Sinclair into the plot. It worked, and Fredrick Sinclair fell deeply in love with Vera Keyes and focused all of his effort in securing her safety in the face of nuclear war. Behind the scenes, the funding and construction of the Sierra Madre was a precarious affair. Always seeking a way around an issue, Sinclair began to compromise the quality of several projects in the villa, while maintaining the highest standards for the casino itself. Some of these compromises of New Age technologies and resources infringed upon the health and safety of the construction crew and residents of the Sierra Madre. And yet Sinclair's eyes were fixed upon providing refuge for his beloved Vera, the casino and its illustrious vault. Vera was even made to be the key of it all, with her very voice unlocking the safety and secrets of the Sierra Madre. The plot to integrate herself into Sinclair's life was going swimmingly. The young Vera Keyes began to get cold feet about the heist, however, and needed further pressure to continue the plot. Therefore, Dean blackmailed her into keeping with the planned heist, that of her chem use being exposed to the public. Much like the Sierra Madre, her external beauty papered over an alien figure. Miss Keyes' Med-X and Super Stimpack usage was apparent even to the construction workers who observed her around the villa. Unbeknownst to Dean, and maybe even herself, she did this as a result of an undiagnosed terminal illness she had, a way to numb the pain. Sinclair, it seems, had pieced the real reason for her addiction together, even attaining an auto dock for Vera's personal suite and obtaining the medical report. There was nothing to do. Her pain, exhaustion, and insomnia would continue, with only the option to numb herself with larger and larger doses of chems until she likely overdosed. So as he continued to attempt to provide for a dying Vera, she continued in her doped-up state to attempt to pull the wool over Sinclair's eyes until the very end, where a change of heart was forced, then walked back on when it was too late. Dean knew that even a man such as Sinclair could see through the facade, yet he continued in his love project for Vera. This too drove Dean's thirst for realized vengeance to even further depths of depravity. The strength of revenge proved to run deep, as when the Sierra Madre did not open on the night of the Great War, Dean remained in the Sierra Madre for over 2 centuries. Even as the cloud appeared and grew in size and density, even as the ghost people appeared stalking the villa, even as several dangerous treasure hunters posed further danger to his life, Dean stayed in place, ever focused on his vendetta against Sinclair, even after the very likely possibility of death would have taken the lives of anyone able to seek refuge in the casino or its illustrious vault. In time, Dean began to ghoulify, accommodate to his new surroundings, and continue the plot. Without success for several lifetimes, Dean came to learn the ins and outs of the Sierra Madre. Eventually, he fell under the thumb, or rather was held by the neck, by Father Elijah. When Dean was collared by Elijah, he was previously forced to attempt to break into the casino. But as the attempts drug out, the other heist members would turn on each other out of greed and kill one another. This is the point in time, circa 2281, which the courier finds himself in the forced company of Dean Domino. This time Father Elijah, the old man, made an adjustment to the bomb collars, linking the members of the team together so that if one dies, all die. Dean, a man who had survived in 2 centuries by remaining incredibly cautious, holds the courier hostage at their first introduction via a shape charged in the cushion of a chair. Dean's personality was remained fickle and egotistical, the same as he was pre-war, with any slight taken to heart with ruthless unforgiveness. Dean demands a role of superiority, even when his own life is on the line if anything goes wrong. The effort of all this long time not to be put to waste. In all interactions throughout the Dead Money DLC, it is this way, and even the most minor slight, Dean will attempt to murder the courier at the first possible opportunity, which will not take his own life. Regardless of the courier's and Dean's relationship stance, he will give advice and feedback throughout the time spent in the villa together. His wealth of knowledge and experience is displayed in these lines: shortcuts, ghost people tendencies, hologram effects, cloud properties, trap identification, stash locations, survival methods. He is a living, unimaginably abundant depository of information for a very small, especially horrendous layer of hell in the post-apocalypse. If placated throughout, Dean will prove to be a mostly loyal partner, seeing as it will continue to further his effort, and that the courier is at the very least more of a help than hindrance. If perceived as an ally, then Dean will help the courier in defeating Father Elijah, as well as admit several truths of his pre-war actions. These include the planned heist and downfall of Fredrick Sinclair, the blackmail of Vera Keyes, and his willingness to take any measures to achieve them. This includes the measure of trapping Christine in an autodock in order to surgically modify her vocal cords to replicate Vera Keyes, the key to opening the Sierra Madre's vault. He's able to learn that Vera's Med-X and Stimpack addiction was due to a chronic illness, and this seems to genuinely take him aback, at least momentarily. He ponders why Sinclair would still continue to build all of this for her, knowing she was dying, let alone make her the key to it all. And while he quickly dismisses the implications verbally, it is very likely to be a thought that sticks with him if everything in the Sierra Madre has been held onto so tightly for such an incredible length of time. Although outside the confines of the Dead Money DLC, Dean would have had the possibility of seeing Vera's last words recorded and repeated in the holograms of the suites of the Sierra Madre Casino. and perhaps having witnessed the haunting distress of her near immortal beacons would finally be enough to sow discord in the hollowed man's dreams and conscience. If Dean survives the events of Dead Money, he eventually does find the last remnants of Sinclair's and Vera's life while searching the casino. This causes him to feel strangely sad for a moment, but having no reason why, before quickly shrugging it off. One possibility completely out of the observable perspective of the courier is Dean Domino entering the vault and accessing the files which Fredrick Sinclair left as a trap for him. Sinclair was of conflicting minds in the end, it seems. At first, he was willing to fall down to Dean's level and give even Vera the fate of death, initially leaving her with the following blood-chilling note in the vault to trap her. Much the same he follows through with Dean. Vera, if you're reading this, I know what you and Dean had planned tonight on the eve of the gala event. I loved you very much, and whatever possessed you to choose Dean's arm over my hand is beyond me. Whether it was greed or lust, it has led you here and will forever keep us apart. I hope it leaves you as empty as you left me. As much as you sought what was inside the Sierra Madre, now it will keep you. The door has sealed, the elevator has left, and not even your voice will unlock it. This casino was my gift to you, and you now will be its heart for all time. Sincerely, Fredrick Sinclair. Upon reaching the depths and safety of the casino vault, it seems he changed his mind for Vera, but not Dean, and removed the message meant for her. He left a new note for Vera, an apology, a hopeful note of her safety and reassurance that the vault can keep her safe until help arrives, and an offering of forgiveness and understanding to her situation and why she would have followed Dean's coercions. But even with his mind changed, it was too late for Sinclair, who died searching for an escape out of the vault which he knew he would never find, as it was designed. For Vera, all was lost as well, as security sprung to life and she was trapped in the casino suite, begging Sinclair for release, until ultimately overdosing on chems. Even given the warning found in Sinclair's note to Vera within the vault, admitting that he knew the truth of the deception, it would be completely in character for Dean to access the files which would assure his own doom, either out of his inability to let go of his obsession or his overconfidence of being able to escape a trap made by Sinclair. Even were Dean to ignore the message out of spite or survival, it is unmistakable that Dean would have Sinclair's message in the back of his mind until his dying breath, giving Sinclair some small form of long-delayed revenge. In the end, given Dean is able to survive the Sierra Madre with Father Elijah dead, he does finally escape the most difficult curse of the Sierra Madre, letting go. While Dean is seemingly able to begin again, now pursuing another heist in the Mojave, it is not with a vindicated heart, but with a heart of shallow compassion fulfilled in its desire of a centuries-old vengeance.